Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Gothenburg here in Sweden, or Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, a very big beer city these days, and we're going to do my second review from Beerbliotek, who are quite a prolific brewery. They've always got different things coming out. So for this one we're having a look at a passion for gingers, which comes in at 3.8%. This one's a Berliner Weiss and they've added passion fruit and ginger to the brew, and it should be quite nice as well, rated 89 overall on Rate Beer. And the last beer I had from these guys, which was a black IPA, that was really quite an interesting beer, so definitely looking forward to trying something different from these guys, and they do have a pretty good reputation. So I hope you guys enjoy this review. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Beerbliotek before. No doubt I'll add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that are reviewed, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. As always, your support is hugely appreciated, so don't hesitate to get in touch. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Beerbliotek then, so as I mentioned to you, this brewery is based in Gothenburg, and it was actually founded back in 2013 by a multinational group of friends. So this is Adam Norman, who's from Australia, Richard Bull, who's from New Zealand, there's Anders Hedlund, who is a Swede of course, and then there's Daryl Denecker, who comes from South Africa. But Adam and Richard actually ran the bar Doppio in Gothenburg, and Daryl and Anders were regular customers of the bar, and they often just used to sit and talk to each other about beer. But one day they decided to buy a kit and brew beers for themselves, and that's really just how the company was born. But the brewery is actually in the old Kip and Sugar building, which is really quite a nice old building when you look at the photos of it, but it's very close to the old Carnegie Brewery in Gothenburg, one of the really quite well known older breweries in the country actually. But their brew kit is from Brewfab in Scotland, and in their first year they apparently brewed 38 different types of beer, and all of their beers are actually brewed in small batches, so this kind of means that they stick to their home brewing roots, and they very rarely brew the same beer actually. They've got no fixed range, and this is why all the beers have the different number on them. But on their website they do say that their kind of motto, if you like, is that the idea behind the name Beerbliotek is that they want to create a kind of wide variety of beers so that customers are always learning something new about beer itself, and basically they want to create a library out of beers, hence the name Beerbliotek. So yeah, quite an interesting concept. This one, as I say, they don't have a regular range, so you will see all these different little numbers coming out of their beer. They're a brewery. As a beer reviewer, they're actually they're really quite hard to keep up with, along with the likes of McKellar and Toil and things. They're always producing different stuff. But these guys, I think, I don't think they ever brew the same beer again. I've never seen ones that are the same. So yeah, if you get the chance to try some of the Beerbliotek beers, just buy them up and have a go at them. There's always something different there. So yeah, let me just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. There you can see. So and there's the red-headed woman there. Looks like she's kind of crushing some passion fruits. Quite nice looking on this one there. You can see on the bottom, as it says, a passion for gingers. It has a wee kind of weird thing on the side here. It says, not everyone who loves gingers loves ginger, but ginger lovers who do love gingers love them with a passion. This beer is dedicated to our friends at Bobby and Stephen. Get in touch at beerbliotek.com. So yeah, plain bottle cap on this one. Tells you on the side here a little bit about the ingredients. Brewed by Beerbliotek, Göteborg, Göteborg, Sverige, and yeah, quite nicely presented. So let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting then. Looking forward to this. I need to try a kind of regular IPA from these guys and see how it comes out, but the black IPA I had from them was really quite nice. So as you can see, this beer's kind of pouring exactly as you would expect of a Berliner Weiss. You know, it's got that bright kind of straw colour, you know, that pale golden straw thing that you always expect of these beers. There's quite a bit of sediment visible in this one. You can see a couple of bits of it just moving around. The head is faded away of course to just be a very thin foamy layer, but as you can see, this it's actually quite a bright kind of pale yellow golden straw colour. There's a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the, I guess you would say, the surface of the beer, rather I would say where the head is. But the head of course has faded away, but looks really nice. Put my fingers behind the glass, you can see there is a little bit of transparency to the beer, but mainly it is really quite opaque. So let's have a closer look at the aroma of this one then. Yeah, you know, straight up, passion fruit right away, exactly as you'd expect. But I always enjoy the smell of passion fruit, of course. It's quite a distinctive and just quite juicy fruit. I often mistake it for mango, actually. I think I do need to train my nose. I can tell the different flavours, but sometimes the aromas do escape me a little bit. But the passion fruit in this one is coming straight out at you, exactly as you'd expect. You can smell a little bit of that kind of tart, kind of citricy character that you expect. That sort of sour, tart, citricy character. You can smell a little bit of that in this one. And you can smell some of the ginger spice coming out from underneath. There's a sort of, as you would expect with the style, there's a sort of kind of slightly doughy, yeasty kind of thing, some breadiness and a little bit of that kind of wheaty spice to it. It's got that kind of bready, doughy, yeasty, wheaty kind of base going on this beer. But really, the nose on this one definitely is dominated by the passion fruit, as you'd expect. You can smell a little bit of the lemon tart citricy notes, like I say. Maybe there's a wee tiny bit of a grassy hop or something in there, just a little bit, but you can smell some of that ginger spice underneath. But it really, as I say, it is, you could smell this beer and just mistake it for passion fruit juice or some kind of tropical fruit juice if you were smelling it blind, but really quite a nice smelling beer, this one. So let's get stuck into this beer then. So this one is the Passion for Gingers number 143, of course, from Beerbliotek up in Gothenburg in Sweden. A 3.8% Berliner Weiss with passion fruit and ginger added to the brew. Skål! That's quite nice. It starts off really quite sharp, then it smooths out just almost immediately. It's really quite nicely done. I have to admit as well, Berliner Weiss is a style that I'm not so familiar with. It's not one that I've drunk loads of and reviewed lots of on the channel for you. So it is always cool to try these ones, and it seems to be a style that's kind of quite popular amongst brewers today. A lot of people are experimenting with this style and adding random things to the beer, and of course it's one of these styles that you probably can get away with adding different fruits and lots of things to, so that's probably why they're experimenting so much with it. But this is nice. This is really quite a nice beer. It's really interesting just the way it comes across. There's very little, if any, hoppy character to this one. You know, if there's anything, as I always say, the hops come out around the edge of your tongue. If there's anything to this, it's just a very kind of light, grassy note around the edge of your palate. Of course, the main focus of this beer is the malt base, so you've got this kind of bready and kind of doughy yeast thing in there, but really it's the wheat mainly for me that's coming out. It does taste like it's quite a sweet wheaty character that's just blanketing across the middle of your tongue, so it's probably everything kind of mixing together, but to me it does taste really quite wheaty, this beer, or the malt base of it does, I should say. Yeah, there's not really that kind of doughy, yeasty thickness to it. It just feels like a really smooth, kind of wheaty white bread sort of thing in the middle of your palate. It's nice, that. I do like how that comes across, and that's what lingers as the beer kind of progresses into the aftertaste. You've got a little bit of the fruity character and a little bit of the kind of tart, citricy notes coming out as well. But yeah, it's just interesting. This beer, you know, there's nothing kind of unexpected about it that much, you know. It's got the kind of bready base, like I'm saying. There's a little bit of grassiness around the edge of the tongue, and as you move into the aftertaste, you can feel sort of in the middle, at the back of your tongue, you can feel those ginger notes just kind of sitting there. They're not too strong, they're just kind of sitting there and adding just that little bit of complexity to the wheaty flavours that are sitting a little bit further forward on the palate. I really do like how the flavours in this beer mix together. It's an interesting combination, not something I have to admit I would have thought to have done with a Berliner Weiss, but they've pulled it off really well actually, so you have to give them praise for that. But this is nice. This is a nice beer, this. So the fruity character is really interesting. If you just feel around the front edge of your palate there, and that little oily bubble you've got coming out behind the front of your palate as well, where these fruity esters are coming out, there's not really a kind of hoppy, oily kind of thing, because if you want passion fruit in a beer, of course, you can use the Simcoe hop. The Simcoe one gives you this really nice passion fruity, oily hoppy flavour, but I don't think they've done that with this beer. To me, the mouthfeel kind of indicates that it's just fruit that they've added to the brew. You can always tell the difference, because if you add fruit to the brew, the kind of front curve of your palate there, it actually feels juicy, and the fruit flavours come out there rather than just a little bit behind the front of your tongue. So really, I think that all the passion fruit flavour in this one is coming from the addition rather than actually hops that they've put into the beer. So that's just an interesting point to make about this beer as well. But it all goes together really quite well. You can feel just before the very edge of your palate, there's that citricy kind of tart character to this beer, and it mixes quite well with the passion fruit. Like when the citricy tartness just goes away, you can feel the juicy character from the passion fruit coming out, and you get the little bit of the kind of ginger spice at the back of your palate too. The whole point of this beer is just how well it goes together, and I'm really just interested. I would be interested to know what the thought process in actually making this one was. If they just said, oh, their friend or something really likes red-headed women, so they thought, well, let's put passion fruit and ginger in the beer just to kind of poke fun at them a little bit or something. But it's just interesting. I'd be interested to know what the kind of methodology for coming up with this beer is, because it's an unusual combination, but it works. It really does work, and it's, you know, that's the whole thing that can be really amusing with craft beer, is you can do things like that and then somehow it works out, and it works quite nicely. So if you want something that really is quite unusual, then this is a beer that you definitely want to go for. It's not a combination you come up with every day, but it certainly does work for me. If you enjoy Berliner Weiss and you like the experimentation with this style, by all means give it a go. There's no real beer that you can compare this one to and recommend, oh, if you like this one then you'll enjoy this beer. It really is just something quite unusual, which is always cool to come across as a beer reviewer. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say this beer, it's somewhere between light and mid-body. This is something I always find difficult to judge with Berliner Weisses, just because it's got that base underneath. And to be honest, I always find mouthfeel difficult to judge when it comes to sour. The tart character that you get from them always makes them just feel a little bit lighter to me than they probably are. But I'd say this is somewhere between light and mid-bodied. You've got a little bit of spritzy carbonation to this one. You can feel that in this beer. It's a little bit oily once you get over the kind of tart character from it. There's quite a bit of that tart character initially, and then it just fades away. The malt base is very smooth, even a little bit sweet actually, and you've got a little bit of that spicy character at the back of your tongue as well. The malt, I like how how there's that little bit of sweetness to the wheaty character in this beer as well. But the hops, as I say, if there's anything in it, it's just a little smooth, grassy character. You've got that nice, juicy fruitiness around the kind of front curve of your palate there as well from the passion fruit. But overall, this is a really quite nice beer. As I said, it's very unusual. So it's not a combination you would think of every day, a Berliner Weiss with passion fruit and ginger in it, but it certainly works. So if you want something a bit different, definitely give this guy a try. And that's one of the really interesting things about Beerbliotek. They are willing to try things like this. So yeah, it's been really cool to review another beer from Beerbliotek. Check this one out. It's really just unusual, like I say, but yeah, it's been cool to try this one. As always, please do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media, but most importantly, support your local craft breweries. And if you find yourself in Gothenburg in Sweden, Beerbliotek are a very interesting brewery to check out, so I'm sure I'll review some more beers from them in the fairly near future. But until the next time, it's landed just now, and I'll catch you guys very soon with another beer review. This one was a Passion for Gingers from Beerbliotek in Gothenburg here in Sweden. Skål!